folks, welcome to my session, Create, Collaborate, and Celebrate App Smashing to Amplify Student Voice. My name is Steph Suko, and I am a high school instructional technology coach and speech teacher, and I am passionate about finding different and unique ways to celebrate our students, to challenge them to collaborate, and to utilize their voice in a variety of ways. Utilizing technology, whether our students are in the classroom, face-to-face, or they're remote, can really provide great opportunities for our students to find success and to be able to share their learning and make their learning visible, not only about course content, but about the world in general. So I am so excited to share with you some of my ideas, and I will be using Pear Deck. So in this session, you will have the student link so that you can contribute your thoughts and you can experience this session from the student perspective. A lot of resources are linked in this slide deck, so you're also going to have an opportunity to receive this slide deck and receive the notes that you're taking. At the end of this conference, I will be sending out your slide deck and with all of your notes, and again, all of my links are there. I tried to incorporate some templates for some different tech tools that you can recreate and you can utilize in your classroom too. And feel free to contact me at any time. I am always happy to share my resources and to collaborate with you. And if you've got a great idea or in addition to something that I've shared, please share that out. We are better when we are together. So I look forward to hearing from you and from seeing your great work as well. Let's get started. So if you could take a minute here and just share out who you are. So here you can see I'm in student view of Pear Deck, and on the left-hand side is the actual slide itself. So if I was in teacher view here, this is what I would see on my screen as the teacher. I would be able to, and I'm going to move my face over here, I would be able to turn off student pace mode if I wanted to be live with my students. I could also turn on the projector mode, which it allows me to show student responses that are anonymous. And so Pear Deck gives me three different views. One is a teacher view with names attached. One is that anonymous projector view, and then one is the student view, which I'm going to be showcasing as well. Pear Deck is my absolute favorite tech tool. I don't know how I would have survived the pandemic and everything that we've gone through over the last 10 months without this tool. What I love is that it gives every student a voice. So every student has an opportunity to respond. From the teacher perspective, I can see who hasn't responded, so I'm able to watch that as well. And it's just flexible, it's fun, it allows students to do a variety of tasks, and it is an extension of Google Slides. So I don't have to change my lessons. I just have to modify and enhance with this tool. There is a free version and there's a paid version as well. The free version is pretty robust and allows teachers to do many things. The paid version gives you more data, gives you more feedback, and a few other fancier options. So there's benefits to both. But if your school does have a subscription to Pear Deck, I highly recommend that you find ways to utilize this great tool. And my students are used to it all the time. So let's go back to our student view here. And here you can see on the right-hand side, I have smashed together Pear Deck I used a website URL to embed a Google form. So my students, while I'm teaching them instruction on the left side and I'm presenting them with content on the right-hand side, they can fill out this form. So if you could take a few minutes, that way we can communicate and connect with each other. You can also view the roster. So if you pop that open, once people have filled this out and the form has populated, you'll be able to connect with other educators throughout the state and throughout this conference. And so please take a few minutes and fill that out. What are our goals for today? Well, today we're going to discuss what app smashing is and how we can enhance the student experience. How can we leverage technology in order to provide opportunities for our students to express themselves in a variety of ways? And again, that idea to collaborate and communicate with each other. We're going to share different types of apps that can be used together to enhance the student experience. And I will do a little disclaimer. The apps that I'm using are are tech friendly. So no matter what your comfortability level with technology is, these are apps that can be quickly integrated. They don't take a lot of instructions, and your students can be very successful with them as well. We're going to identify the benefits of app smashing and then reflect on how you might use these tools in your own classroom. So what exactly is app smashing? App smashing, kind of like the Hulk, where it's taking multiple things and pressing them together in one and superpowering up their capabilities. So the process of using multiple apps in conjunction with another to complete a final task or product. And again, it's taking the best features of multiple tools and utilizing them together to enhance that student experience. So what does app smashing allow you to do? Well, app smashing allows you to maximize the use of those multiple tools. And the goal is to enhance, again, that student experience by challenging them to be active. We want them to be the drivers of their own learning, especially as we are finding blended experiences, asynchronous experiences. We want to empower our students to push the envelope in terms of what they learn, comprehend, and also what they produce and create. So we're going to create, collaborate, and share out their work. What I love about these tech tools that I'm going to share with you today is that it makes learning visible. No matter where or when our students are learning, we can gauge their understanding, we can glean their ideas, and we can use them to enhance everybody's experience and really create a positive environment that our students want to be in. All right, folks, on this slide, when you're in student view, you can move around these icons. I love the drag feature in Pear Deck. It allows us to utilize maps and diagrams and have students mark different places on charts. It's a really great activity, or you can utilize this for an anticipation guide so that you can see if students agree or disagree. So there's some fun things here. These are some of the tools that we're going to cover today, and these are some of my favorite tools. And again, there are thousands of tech tools that we can choose from. I always feel like there's a new one coming up all the time. I really want to challenge you to think about finding the few tools that you can do well. It doesn't take 1,000 tech tools to smash together to really create a wonderful and unique experience for our students. So find a few that work for you and then really use them to the max. So here, I always love starting with an SEL slide with my students. They know in some way, shape, or form, I'm going to ask them how they're feeling, how they're doing. It's a really great way to forge a personal connection with your student, but then you can showcase and show in student view multiple students' responses. You know, especially on days where a big news event has happened and the next day you come into class and students are apprehensive to unmute. Providing them with this anonymous way to share and showcase how they're feeling and how they're doing really empowers them and allows them to feel heard. And then also on top of that, when they see other students feeling the same way, they really start to learn and realize that they are not alone. And by creating this sense of trust and utilizing the social emotional learning strategies or slides, it really helps to open students up to want to talk about the content and want to unmute. And that's really ultimately our goal, again, whether we're in the classroom or anywhere else. And it's really fun because they can draw, they can be silly. And so I like doing drawing challenges all the time, or illustration challenges, just for fun and just to mix things up. So a couple of responses I'd love to hear from you is, what does your classroom look like in a non-pandemic world? You know, eventually we will get back to some sense of normal, and hopefully we keep some of the great lessons we've learned over the last year as well. And so what does that classroom look like? When you think about your ideal classroom now in a pandemic world, you know, thinking about the things that you've learned and incorporated, I would love to hear what that classroom looks like or looks like and what you're hoping it looks like in the future too. You know, I think when we think about the struggles or the obstacles we faced, a lot of them being with technology or connectivity, you know, I think we can learn some really great lessons and leverage some different ways to reach our students, again, offline, asynchronously. And so what struggles have you faced? And more importantly, how have you overcome those struggles? And I really was struck by this quote by Gail Lynn Goodwin. It says, When we focus on what we can do instead of what we can't, a world of possibilities opens up. Obviously, in our world in the last year, there's been a lot of things that we can't do. And so, how do we overcome that? How do we leverage those different opportunities, resources, and tools to continue to encourage our students to collaborate and to share? And that's where some of these tools and app smashing can really come in. Some of my favorite books that I've read have been by Dave Burgess and his company and people that write under his publishing company. And he always talks about the student experience. Don't just teach a lesson, create an experience. And that's what app smashing allows us to do. And like he says here, it allows us to create an uncommon experience that will have rewards beyond what we could have ever imagined. And so again, we're going to continue to amplify student voice, which refers to them sharing their values, opinions, perspectives, and cultural backgrounds too. And these teaching tools and these strategies can again lift up our students. So why do we want to amplify student voice? Well, it's important that our students are heard and that they are empowered. And we want our classrooms to have diverse voices and perspectives. And we need to remember as educators that every voice matters. So let's get to the fun stuff now. How might we amplify student voice in remote, hybrid, and even traditional learning too? Well, let's dig into my favorite tool, which is Pear Deck. Pear Deck is interactive. It makes learning visible. And again, for our quieter students, our students who might need more processing time before they respond, it really gives them an opportunity to share out their voice, to reflect. And what's so nice in Pear Deck is when you have students responding in a written format that's anonymous, you can highlight the quiet students. You can highlight the students that might never have raised that hand and shared that idea and really empower them and make them feel confident in the things that they have to share. So it provides so many opportunities for all students. And if you've never used Pear Deck before, I have about a 7-minute walkthrough that's pretty detailed and extensive. So again, in the slide deck, you're going to have access to this. All right, so if you want to learn more about Pear Deck, I do have a Pear Deck 101 slide deck, and this slide deck is really for people who are brand new to Pear Deck, and it'll walk you through the different question types and the different resources that you can utilize. If you are a level 2 user, I have next steps with Pear Deck, which will show you how to maximize the use of this particular tool with your students. Moving forward here are just some examples. Again, with Pear Deck, you can use the drop and drag icon slide. You can also, this is what it looks like from student perspective, and you can see I was having a conversation with them about COVID, and opening up a tough conversation anonymously really encourages students to be honest with their feelings, to share their voice in detail, and can be a really powerful experience. And finally, my favorite is drawing, and I love to see them get creative. Here I asked them to illustrate what they did over break, and it was a lot of fun to see their responses. Next step is app smashing with Google Suites and Google Apps. I can't say how many amazing educators I've seen on Twitter and through different conferences and presentations on utilizing Google Suites, and if you're a Microsoft school, Microsoft products to the max. Whether it be using Google Slides and allowing all students to edit, utilizing Google Forms to collect information, or Jamboard is huge right now. Those different resources and tools can allow students to be creative. It can allow them to collaborate in breakout rooms. And the really cool thing is we can see all of that happening at the same time. And Google does, it tracks changes so we can see which student is participating as well. So let's take a look at some different examples here. Here I've got Google Slides, the breakout room template. I use this almost every single day. I break my students into random groups using Flippity, and Flippity is a great tool that allows you to do like random groupings and select random names. And so I will post who is in what group. I use Google Meet to link to different breakout rooms, and so students click on this. I would post who goes where, and then they can write on these different slides. And I can put content on these different slides. I've put draggables and manipulatives so they could reorder things, and it can get really fun and really creative, and I can see everybody at the same time. So if you want a copy of this very simple but very useful template, you can click the link right there. I also have a Breakout Google Doc, and again, both of these tools are editable so that anyone with the link can contribute. And again, it gives students voice, and you can do a quick learning target, you can do a prompt, and then I have all the students take notes so that they're accountable for what they're talking about. It gives them a direction and a purpose, and it allows me to see everybody at the same time. And if you want a copy of that template, you can click here as well. And if you're a Google school, I really like doing scavenger hunts using Google Forms. So hyperdocs and linking to different resources and activities is a really powerful way to smash in different resources, to do research, and to get the students active. So here you can click, I've got a scavenger hunt, and using Google Forms, you can do a specific response, which is very similar to like Breakout EDU or some sort of code and puzzle, and you can have students find answers. And so here's an example that you can take a look at. I also have instructions linked on the next slide. So again, if you want instructions to this assignment, it literally walks you through how to build and forge that step by step. Let's take a look. So there is a short video. I have my information if you need to contact me. There's a copy of the form that you can make, and then it walks you through everything step by step. So take a look, and again, utilizing those different tools and resources makes learning fun, makes it an experience that they will remember. All right, now I'm back in student view of Pear Deck. And again, what's nice about student view is that you can smash in different forms and different resources. So your content is on the left side here, and then what students are looking at and what they're actually doing and producing is over here. So here, now it says, working in groups, record your answer to today's prompt. In a Pear Deck, I can keep my students in a lesson, so I can keep them on pace with the progress that I want them to make, but then they can be working together on the right-hand side here. So what's nice about Pear Deck and smashing in different apps here is that it controls the student screen. We know what they're looking at, and we can guide them through the process. Here's another example with Jamboard here, and if for some reason a slide doesn't produce or it doesn't actually smash in for some reason, or it's taking a long time to load, I can challenge my students to go into, here is a Jamboard now, and they can add different Post-it notes, they can contribute their thoughts. Jamboard reminds me a lot of Padlet, which is something that we'll be talking about shortly. And so Google Suites gives a voice to every student. No matter what product you're using, your students can access, they can share, they can collaborate, and they can work together, again, in real time. Docs is great for collaborative writing. Forms is great for surveys and data collection. Jamboard is very similar to Padlet, and slides can really do everything. So when it comes to Padlet, Padlet's that digital corkboard, and it has evolved over time. And now there's so many different things that you can do with Padlet. Padlet does have a free version, so you can have up to 3 free Padlets, and you can delete them and reuse it over and over again, which is really nice. Or if you have the paid version, you can have unlimited amount of Padlets. Students can make their learning visible. It's very collaborative. It's very user-friendly. And again, it's that way of students demonstrating and making their learning visible. Now here I have several different templates linked in for you. So if you click on that, you'll be able to make a copy so you can remake any of these templates. I love using Padlet as an entrance or exit slip. It's great for brainstorming, specifically collaborative brainstorming, and we know that group work can be a challenge when you're in person, but group work can also be a challenge when you are not in person. And so finding that way to make the students plan out what they're going to be doing for their project to contribute equally, it can be a really powerful tool, again, to enhance perhaps a video project or enhance a live presentation. Padlet's great for vocabulary review, so any of my world language teachers in the room, this is definitely a great tool where you can have them put a word definition, they can add images, they can add synonyms, all sorts of different concepts and ideas that can enhance that vocabulary. And again, any content, we all have vocabulary that we want our students to understand and to be able to utilize. So this is a really great, simple Padlet for our students. Note that students can make their own Padlets and then they can share that link with you, or you can make a collective Padlet that is for the whole class or for small groups. So there's a lot of flexibility when it comes to Padlet. Padlet can also be a live chat. It can be used to create a running conversation. Perhaps you're watching a video or you are you're engaged on some sort of website, you're reading an article. Well, while you're reading, while you're on another tool or platform, you can be having a live chat through Padlet. So utilizing those apps together, again, can create a really positive conversation and ability for students to share their voices while they're doing something else. Padlet's a great presentation platform too. So if you're asynchronous with your students, you can have them post videos, post slide decks, post any sort of project. This is great for art if you're doing a critique. And so by students presenting multimedia information here, then they can asynchronously get feedback as well. And finally, a formative review. I love using Padlet as a way for students to access different resources. So here you can see I have Play the Kahoot, go to a mind map, go to different resources, and you can link them in here, and then students can navigate at their own pace. Overall, Padlet provides students with opportunities to answer anonymously or identify themselves. They can post multiple ideas. It's fast. They can share comments. They can comment on other people's work. They can post all sorts of multimedia resources and access them as well. Here, I have some of my resources for Padlet. So if you're looking to learn more about Padlet, you can watch my videos. You can access my slide deck, so feel free to utilize that. But also, feel free to share how you might use Padlet in your classroom, or if you are an avid Padlet user already, share how you use it here as well. The next tool that I want to share is Flipgrid, and I am always flipping for Flipgrid. It is a free tool. It is a Microsoft product, but it is compatible with Google as well, and students love it, and it's just a really great way to connect with students asynchronously, to feel like you're having a conversation, and it records presentations as well. So it's a video platform in which students can participate asynchronously. They can have discussions. They can get creative on it as well. They can record their actions. It's a great exit flip, and it's just a really powerful way to have a conversation, but allow students to have it at their own pace. Flipgrid and the student voice. It really allows teachers and students to connect with one another. I do a Flipgrid every Monday in my classes so that I can have a conversation with my roomers and my Zoomers and everybody in between. And it's just a really powerful habit to be in. And again, it starts a dialogue. Students can watch and comment on each other's, and it's really great for presentations. They can also screencast on Flipgrid now, which is a new feature, and those videos are shareable. You can click that shareable link, and if you teach littles, you can share those video projects or presentations with their parents. If you teach older students, you can share them with future students, with permission, so that you can keep a dialogue going for years to come. And here, as you can see, it integrates really nicely with Pear Deck. And so you can use the web link here, and look how nicely it is on the side here. So if you want to record a response. I would love to see your face and to be able to connect with you. So if you have an idea of how you might use Flipgrid in your classroom, or if you use Flipgrid now, please drop it here so that we can learn from each other and you guys can see each other too. And I would love to comment back and chat with you more about the great things that you're doing with Flipgrid in your classroom. The next, keeping on with video creation here, is Screencastify. And again, talk about a tool that I don't know how I would have functioned the last year without. Screencastify allows us to capture our screen just like I'm doing right now. And you can do picture-in-picture, you can turn that off, and it's just a really cool tool to be able to show someone how to do something really quickly. But we can challenge our students to use Screencastify as well. Students can screencast to amplify their voices, create projects, give commentary, give feedback, and again, really continue that conversation. Learning doesn't have to be done in isolation. And with Screencastify, students can capture what they're learning and can really show us, as well as tell us what they're doing and how they're doing as well. So here, if you've never used Screencastify before, if you'd like more, this video is not only friendly for teachers, but it's also friendly for students. So I've had students throughout my building doing screencast projects, and I've given this video to other teachers to use with their students too. So teachers, we don't have to teach them how to do tech. We just have to give them the resources to figure it out and empower them to do it themselves. And so what's really neat is students can create screencast presentations, they can create demonstrations, they can record Zoom meetings so they can showcase their conversations that they've had if they're having a fishbowl discussion or a discussion in a foreign language. And so students can elicit feedback. They can ask questions using Screencastify. Also, teachers, it's a really great way to give feedback. Even on essays or written projects, you can give that video feedback, which gives them your tone. It allows them to see nonverbals, which again, creates a better line of communication and can really open doors to continue to celebrate the great things that students are doing. WeVideo is another one of my favorite tools, and WeVideo is more of a level 2 app. It's not necessarily for the tech strugglers, but there are different levels and you can learn and grow with this tool. More importantly, I think our students do a really awesome job with WeVideo and video creation, and so it allows us to make a transformative experience for our students with video. So WeVideo is cloud-based and students can edit and create together. Teachers can use WeVideo to create videos for their students, and students can also screencast and do voiceovers and do some really cool things with this as well. So here's my more detailed walkthrough, and you can see that I've app smashed in an Edpuzzle with my Pear Deck. And this is a really great tool. So if you want students to learn a quick concept or skill, you can create a quick screencast or create a quick video, upload it into Edpuzzle, and then students can do it right here. So you can, again, see I've got my content on the left side, and on the right side, I have my lesson with Edpuzzle. So I'm utilizing multiple apps together in order to enhance my student experience. Video creation in the student voice. Again, whether it is Screencastify, WeVideo, Flipgrid, however you utilize video, you can connect students face to face. It gives them that sense of normalcy, even from a distance. It engages and encourages communication. It allows us to be creative and capture what we're learning in very visible ways. We can revisit lessons and we can reach beyond the walls of our classroom. So how are you feeling about attacking this spring semester? You can give me your little flag here. Hopefully it's closer to the thumbs up. Again, we're not out of this yet, but we are going to do great things in the future because of the lessons we've learned and how we've learned to create and collaborate and again, encourage our students to be drivers of their own learning. So if you could circle your favorite tools here. And again, in the student pace mode, you can contribute and you can show me all the great things that you are thinking and feeling about these different apps. And what's really neat is if I am in the teacher paced version, which I'm not in right now, but I can layer over. So if I have my students circling things, I can layer all of their responses, and I can show students like what's the most popular app, what has the most circles, all in one view. So it's really cool when you layer the drawing and you can show students like where they're at collectively. And last but not least, if you could leave a takeaway or something that you are going to be applying into your own classroom, and I will be sharing those out as well. I think we've learned the smartest person in the room is not the speaker, but really the room itself. And I am so excited to learn from you as well. And finally, I am always happy to collaborate. So my contact information is down there at the bottom. Feel free to send me an email. You can message me on Twitter too, and I would love to collaborate with you and to hear from you as well. So I hope you have a great rest of your conference. You are doing amazing things, and we can do virtually anything. And I am really excited to be a part of this wonderful PLN and to learn from you as well. I hope you have a great rest of your school year. Don't be a stranger, and take care.